It is our quality time interview on Kansas Sports Chatter, an opportunity to spend a little extra time with our next guest, and that is Sarah Nuss. She is the head coach of the Victoria volleyball team. Hey, Coach, appreciate your time. This time of the year, just how much excitement is it for you as a coach and your team?
It's always an exciting time of year. It's a double-edged sword though, because sometimes I'm not. I just told them the other day I'm not ready for it to be over. So it's as exciting as it is. It's also oh, we're winding down. It definitely brings out extra fire in some of the players. Also brings out some nerves. Sometimes we have to work through some of that. But as I tell them, I'm like, we're playing volleyball just like we've done all season. So
You talk about the journey of a season. It starts out, you probably had some contact with them during the summer, and then,
oh yeah.
getting practice rolling in August. And now, with, state volleyball, it pushes up to the month of November. What's that journey like from start to finish as a head coach?
In the summer we do more. I kind of let them just play on their own, and I tell them in the summer, I'm not here to coach you much yet. You'll get plenty of that in a couple months. So summertime, I kind of let them play on their own, kind of let them coach themselves, because I'll be honest, I enjoy watching them as players grow in that role. One, it involves the communication that's so important on the court, but then also court awareness, which is an important skill as well as a player. Even like making a lineup. So when we're in summer league stuff, I kind of let them run the show to some extent. I mean, I have practices and things like that, but we make teams. Sometimes I let them be on teams with, friends or classmates instead of who would be varsity versus who would be JV. We intertwine that sometimes. Obviously, have camp in the summer, and we do more skill fundamental work. And then that's how we end our summer. We always do camp that last week that we can work as a team. And then that's I tell them that's your prerequisite to practice. So then when practice starts, we can hit it hard because we have that fast turnaround. When they added the jamboree, and we usually play then that first Friday that competition can begin. So it's usually we have games within a week or two. So we do a lot of skill development during the summer and kind of free range. And then once August hits and season starts, we can start focusing more on a rotation that we might want to run or need to run, try different rotations, see what works with that quick turnaround. Throughout the season, we kind of, we might tweak a rotation here or there. I have a couple girls that kind of flip-flop in and out for each other. But we try to have that kind of hit this maintaining where you're at in a rotation anyways. Obviously, there were adjustments throughout the year. We had a couple unfortunate injuries or, some girls that were banged up a little bit. We had to make some adjustments throughout the season. But then by this time in the year, you're hoping you have that mastered and focusing more on looking at who we're playing and what we're going to see across the net so we can prepare for that specifically when it comes postseason time. So
You mentioned figuring out those rotations. I mean, now your 10th season at Victoria, is that pretty, does it click right away for you? Okay, yeah, this rotation looks good, or what's that work in progress like?
I would like to say yes. It's a trial and error thing. I've been really fortunate. I have several players that can play multiple positions. And so mid-game, I just last night at regionals, I had some hitters flip-flop where they, instead of going right side, they were going outside to match up with a taller hitter across the net for a bigger block. So I've been really fortunate to have some players that can play multiple positions. But yes, I would like to say, just especially after you've had them for a couple years, you kind of know where their strengths are. But even just this year, I learned one of my hitters, she told me her favorite spot to hit was actually in the middle. And I went, I didn't know this. Let's run you in the middle some more then, she didn't before that typically hit much middle. And she, in fact, I would have thought didn't enjoy it because a couple of times I had tried to put her there and she gave me a weird look, but come to find out she really enjoyed it. And I went, let's try it. So yeah, it gets easier, especially like I said, after you've had them for a couple years. You know where their niche is, but it's still a puzzle. I'll be honest, it's sometimes the part I like the most. It's making all the pieces fit, how they fit the best, I guess. So.
Well, it seems like, those puzzle pieces fit pretty well this year. A lot of success this season for the Victoria Knights. I mean, did you have those expectations? You mentioned some of those players that you've had for a couple of years, but what were the expectations coming into the season, Coach?
Obviously high expectations based on a state appearance last year. We did lose some seniors last year. We knew that we're going to need to be replaced. But last year I knew that I had players that had the potential to play in those positions already. There were just seniors playing in those spots last year. So although we graduated 4 last year, truly it was only kind of 2 positions though, 2 front rows and 2 back rows. So together they make 2 spots. And so I had players last year that probably could have seen some court time, but weren't because they were behind the seniors, that had been there and put in their time. So tried to get them some experience last year, a little bit here and there when we could. So that way, when it came time this year, they were comfortable on the varsity court. But they, again, so expectations were high, and they knew that, and they had the expectation for themselves coming off a state appearance last year, and that really showed this summer. I had a lot of girls putting in a lot of extra time, especially in the weight room. Because they knew they wanted this season to look good, and they have done so. So it's paying off.
You talk about this time of the year, like teams always want to be battle tested, and you look back at your regular season, just that schedule and the competition you played. I mean, I know you faced Ellenwood 3 times.
Oh, yes.
Like, do you feel like those types of matches really help out at this time of the year?
For sure. I know Ellenwood was actually our last regular season game. And we lost. As you stated, of our 6 losses, 3 of them have been to Ellenwood. But it was our last regular season game, and we lost. But I told them, I was like, there is no better game we could have asked for to prepare us for postseason than to play an Ellenwood, a team like Ellenwood. So it definitely was to our benefit to get us ready for postseason play. They make you better, and we learned weaknesses of ours that we needed to work on, but then also seeing a faster paced game. Again, is the best way you can prepare for postseason.
Sarah Nuss joining us here, head coach of the Victoria volleyball team. You mentioned learning. What about you as a coach? Like now in your 10th season at Victoria, like what do you do to, make sure you're keeping sharp as a coach before you go into a season or sometime during the off season as well?
Truly, it's so funny. I played for so long. I still feel like I'm learning part of the game too, from a different perspective. But then being able to relate back to being in that player position, in previous years is nice. Staying on top of all the rule changes that they have every year. My girls will tease me, and when they watch this, I'm going to say the word. I'm a protocolical. I like the protocol. So I'm staying up on the rules. Sometimes there's big rule changes. Keisha throws out. Other times not so much, but staying up on that stuff. Trying to, just like last year, they changed back to the postseason formatting with the regional versus sub-state. It was just sub-state. Then they added the regionals back, to play into sub-state. That's definitely. I enjoy watching college volleyball. So, and even, I had a conversation with the girls. I was watching Nebraska play Penn State. I was watching that game a couple weeks ago, and just listening to the commentators commentate that collegiate level volleyball, number 1 versus last year's national champion. Some of the comments, I then was able to take some of that back and actually applied it to our Ellenwood game, was one of the things I had brought up to them. So, something the commentator had said stood out to me, and I felt like it was important for our girls to hear those same things before they played a tough team. Watching that, still learning. You see it from a different angle from the sidelines than you do on the court too. So even watching on the TV. So just continuing to watch it. and the love for the game is there. So
Yeah.
when I get the chance, I take it.
Well, Victoria as a community, I always love, calling games at Victoria, even for basketball and just that gym. I mean, it just felt like it was so loud and everything was
Mhm.
right on top of you. What's it like with home volleyball matches for Victoria?
One of the things I tell the girls is get your crowd involved. And you do that by you getting excited. You getting excited gets them excited, and then it builds that environment. We love having when the football boys come in, or any of the student section. When we got a full student section, but you can always tell when football practice gets out because they pile in. It's and then I tell them feed off of that. So every point you win, you got to enjoy that home crowd and give them something to get excited about, and they'll get excited if you get excited. So, and you're right, it does feel like they're sitting right on top of you, and it's echoey, and it
Yeah.
just means I have to talk louder, of course. um, but yes, that environment, I tell them, I'm like, you have the home crowd advantage. There's the loud bang I tried to warn you about.
Be
Sorry.
careful in there.
They to use that to your advantage, and we've had great community support, student section support. Can't thank them enough because they're a part of the team in that sense when it comes to the excitement of the game, and they build that environment, and so they have a role whether they realize it or not. So
Hey, Coach, appreciate your time.
thank you very much for having us.
That is Sarah Nuss, the head coach of the volleyball team for Victoria High School. That'll do it for our quality time interview.